Once you've downloaded CalMan, you can run it. Just double click on the file. You will be prompted to agree to the end user licensing. There'll be a couple of pop-ups that come up during the setup. Go ahead and click through next, and there's two portions of the licensing agreement. And we'll install. Once CalMan's done installing, just go ahead and press finish. CalMan will create a shortcut on your desktop. You can either open CalMan using that shortcut, or you can open it from the search. On that initial splash screen, CalMan will show which version it is while it's loading up. If you haven't run CalMan before, you will be prompted the first time to enter your license. You can do that here, or you can do it once the software is open. If you want to do it later, press the Continue in Evaluation Mode option. You'll notice that here CalMan does say it's in a trial evaluation mode. That means it does not have a license installed. To enter a license after the fact, you can go into licensing from our main menu and enter your license information here. Press the Activate Online to activate the license. You can also do a refresh license if for some reason your license needs to be refreshed, or you deactivate if you need to move a license from one computer to another. You will notice that up in the top left corner at this point, it says CalMan Home for LG before it had the trial evaluation. That's how you know your license is installed. Once you have your CalMan installed and licensed, it's time to talk about getting your hardware set up for calibration. There's a couple important parts that we want to use when we're doing calibration. First one of those is we need some sort of meter. That's what's going to measure the light coming off of our TV screen and is going to provide us with the information we need to run the calibration. The other thing we need is a signal generator. I've got the Portrait Displays G1 pattern generator right here. I'll walk through some basic setup and also point out a few things in the CalMan UI. The first one is our C6. Within the CalMan UI, we can connect to our meter, our source, or display using our hardware tabs. Those hardware tabs are going to give us an indication of what's going on while we're using CalMan. We do also have steps in our calibration workflows that are really geared towards making sure you get your gear set up correctly. I'll talk about what it looks like just in our hardware tabs first, and then in any videos where we cover more in depth on calibration, we'll go through the setup there as well. To connect to a meter from the hardware tab, on the meters tab, go to Find Meter. We'll give some options for additional meters on here, but for this video, what I'm connecting to is a Portrait C6. That's included in this initial checkbox. That's the default in CalMan. Press search, and it should take a moment and find your meter. Once the meter is connected, you'll notice that my hardware tab shifted from yellow to green, indicating that we do now have connected hardware. A couple other things on here. We do have a meter mode selection option where you can select which display type you'll be measuring. There's also options for exposure modes and if you're going to do meter profiles. Now for my source, I'm using the G1 pattern generator. The G1 pattern generator is a network-based generator. So I've got power, I've got an HDMI leading into the TV, and I've got a network cable that's plugged into a network switch, which happens to be on the same network as my laptop and the TV. To find your pattern generator, go into the Source tab, press Find Source, select your manufacturer, select Portrait Displays, and select the generator you'd like to connect to. You can see that it tried to find it on the network already, so I don't even have to type in the IP address. If I were to type in the IP address, that would be shown on the input that has the G1 connected to it right now. Hit connect, and that'll connect you to the pattern generator. And again, on your hardware tab here, you notice that I went from yellow to green on the hardware tab, and it now shows the Portrait Displays G1 is connected. There's options in here for setting up for additional settings for the pattern generator as well. Those settings, we will provide best settings for your use cases when we're going through the automated calibration workflows. Beyond that, in the CalMan UI, we've got our settings panel. We've got some basic options for workflows, advanced options, and measurements, and then application options. Those are all buried within our settings menu here. On the left-hand side, we give a workflow overview for whatever workflow you have selected. That allows you to see which steps are in the workflow. By default, that's going to be closed, but you can open it up. If you'd like it to stay open, There's a pin option here, which keeps it open and makes sure, and it will squish the workflow area down a little bit so that none of the workflow that you're actively using will be covered. Our main menu is available right up here. That allows you to do things like start a new calibration session, open a specific workflow, access licensing, or information about the software. Our introduction workflow is the first workflow that we're going to put you into when you first install and license your software. That gives you a full overview of all the application portions, so you can step through that workflow and see what the different steps and what the different elements of the CalMan UI are and how to use them. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I hope you found that video helpful. Thank you very much.